Hey there, welcome to Story Time. I'm Cerise, and this is my channel. Let's get into the story time. Of course, we're going to protect the people's names, and we're also going to protect their personal deep information. But we will get to this. We're going to be talking about a guy named Cecil. Cecil was a special agent. He is a special agent, rather. And he is a gentleman that works for a certain organization in the United States. And he takes criminals back and forth from America to their original place. So when they're getting deported, and he takes them on the plane, and they are big time criminals, and he takes them to where they need to go. Special forces types of things. We're going to talk about what happened when he came here to the Dominican Republic. So this is a savvy guy, very smart, knows how to deal with criminals, he knows what he's doing, and he also knows how to hold things down, very smart. He gets here and he meets a few women. And he decides that he's going to have fun. That's the only reason why he came here. He's not married. He's been single for a very long time, never had children, always worked very hard. And whenever he comes here to the Dominican Republic, he plays hard, just as hard as he's worked when he wasn't here. So he gets here and he rents himself a nice villa, a beautiful villa. And what he does is he gets himself 3 girls at a time. He doesn't mess around, and he makes sure that these 3 girls don't know each other. So as soon as he arrives in Santo Domingo, and he rents himself a car. He gets 1 girl from Santo Domingo that he's met online. Usually it's one of those dating sites. And then he stops off in Santiago, grabs the next girl. And then on his way, he stops in Puerto Plata and grabs the next girl. And he takes them all to his villa. He books the villa for 1 week, and those girls all treat him like a king. He pays each one of them to stay with him for the week. And not only that, he has them treat him very wonderfully well. They cook for him, they clean for him, they massage him. Constantly he is being touched and rubbed and loved, and that is what he pays them for, and he pays them very well. Now what he would do after about 5 days and 6 days, and he would always figure out whether he was going to extend his stay more than a week. And quite frequently he would. And quite frequently he would send 2 girls back in a cab to wherever they came from, or he would pay for their bus and give them extra money, and he would keep his favorite girl for an entire week. And that was it. Well, this time around, he decided to do that. And he was like, you know what? It was about the 5th, 6th day in, and he really fell for one of these girls. The girl was from Puerto Plata. And he was like, I really like this woman. She was the best cook out of the 3. She gave the best massages, and she cleaned the best as well. She was not, too laid back. She was very appreciative of him, and he felt she was also the best lover. So, 6 days in, he told the other 2 girls, hey, you know what? I'm going to let you go. You're going to leave tomorrow, and just going to say goodbye. And that was it. So the next morning when the other 2 girls woke up, they looked at the 3rd girl and they're like, she's not leaving? And he said, no, she's going to stay a little bit longer. And the 1 girl got jealous. We're going to call her Teresa. Teresa got very jealous, and she didn't like it very much because she tried her hardest to please him in the bedroom. She thought that she was actually the best because she really tried hard, and she also thought that he liked her. He was just giving them all love. He was giving them all attention, but she thought she was the one that was his special one. So it was a shock for her to find out that he was going to be staying longer and with the other girl. So he made sure that he got them to the station. They both decided to take a bus and they both decided to go back. So the one girl was going to Santiago and the other girl was going to Santo Domingo. Well, it was Teresa from Santo Domingo that was the sour one. And he told them, look, he's like, listen, I'll give you money for a cab to go to Santo Domingo and Santiago, or I will give you extra money, and like the money, you keep the money and you can take a bus. But they both decided to take the bus and he gave them equal amounts. Even though it's farther to get to Santo Domingo and it's about, $100 more, it was still him. He still gave 200 each to each girl on top of what he gave them for the week. He was very generous to them. So Teresa had no business getting all her panties up in a bunch. To be honest, she knew that it was a job and she was not promised that it would last longer. All three of them had the idea that they were staying 7 days. It was him that decided at the last minute that he was going to keep the one girl there. So now Teresa, she gets back to Santo Domingo and she's lit. She's angry all the way home on the bus. She was messaging him saying, Amor, I didn't know you didn't like me. I was giving you everything. Tell me where I went wrong. Tell me what I did wrong. How come you didn't choose me to stay? Can I come back? And he was saying to her, there's nothing wrong with you. You're beautiful, but it's just that the girl that's here, I just have a connection with her. And she's like, I know how to cook better. It's just that girl that's there, she just wanted to keep cooking, and Teresa kept saying she wasn't lazy. She kept saying that, she can be better. And he said, Teresa, listen, I hired you for a week to just come and chill with me. I didn't hire you to be a wife or girlfriend or anything else. Don't get it twisted. I think you're beautiful. I think you're wonderful. But you were hired to do a job. You did your job well. And that's it. And she's like, oh, well, I thought we had a connection. And she kept going on with that over and over to the point where he had to block her. He was just like, listen, I can't. I just can't. And after he blocked her, he forgot to go to the front gate of the villa and tell the villa security guards to prevent her from going into the gates, because you see, these three ladies were with him for an entire week. So they would go out together, come back together, and the security guards knew what was going on. They knew it was just him. He never had guy friends with him or anything of that nature. He always had the three girls with him. And so sometimes the girls, they would take walks. A couple of them would take walks together to go to the store. And because there was a store on the grounds itself, on the villa grounds. And then sometimes they would go to town to grab some things that they needed for the house. And so they would get back and forth inside the gate with no question. So he forgot to tell the security guard, do not let Teresa in. Even after he blocked her, he just blocked her out of his mind as well. He didn't think for the life of him that what she did next, she was ever capable of doing. So, about 2 days later, in the middle of the night, he heard a knock at the door. And he opened up the door, and it was Teresa and a guy. And the guy grabbed him. Now, this agent, remember, he's a guy that deals with criminals. He's a guy that's pretty tough. And he is very much of a person that can hold his own weight, so to speak. Now, Teresa did not know this. She had no idea that this guy, Cecil, was just so professional at fighting and, being able to wrap someone up like a pretzel. And that's exactly what he did. This guy went at him and he just turned the tables on this guy, wrapped him up, totally just pulverized him and put him in the corner. And then he turned around and he looked at Teresa, and Teresa had a weapon. And he looked at Teresa and he's like, you use that weapon and you will be incarcerated for the rest of your life. I'm a pretty important agent and I know a lot of important people in this country. You don't want to mess around. And she started to cry and she said, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe that you did this to me. You hurt me. You made me believe that we could be together. You made me think that we were going to be more than just friends." And he tried to explain to her that he's never ever done that. He's never given her any reason to think that they were going to be more. So, of course, the girl that he did keep at the house, she she was like just so shocked, she was like crying in the bedroom. She didn't leave the bedroom because when the knock came on the door, he thought it was like security or just someone checking on them in the villa complex. He had no clue it was going to be Teresa, so the girl stayed in the bedroom. But when she heard all the commotion, she was terrified. She ran and she just hid in the closet. She didn't know what else to do. And when she heard Teresa's voice and the crying and everything, she knew right away that Teresa was back and she was back for problems. And, it wasn't good. But she decided, because she just wanted to make sure everything was okay. Like, she really did like Cecil. She really did feel for him, and they really did have a connection. And so she ended up going out into the living room. And when she went out into the living room, that's when Teresa just went at her. And there was just blood everywhere. And Teresa went at her, and the weapon was a blade, and she just tore this girl's arms apart. And she did it so quickly that he was shocked. He was like, "Oh my gosh," he never seen anything like that before. Even though he is advanced in what he does and everything, he never saw a woman do that before. And so he grabbed her and he just choked her by the neck, and she went limp. She didn't die. She just went limp and she fell to the ground. And he had to call the front desk, and the front desk went to, with security and everything. And when they got to the house, they couldn't believe it. There was just like everywhere. There was blood. There was like this guy up in the corner. Teresa was just waking up, and Cecil he had enough, and he just looked around and he felt so guilty. He felt so bad. He felt like, when he saw the girl with all the cuts on her arms and everything, she had to be rushed off to the hospital. And they did. They hurt. She wasn't dying or anything. There was just slices, right? And, not like deep cuts, but like slices. But it all happened so quickly. And she went to the hospital and she got all fixed up and everything. And Cecil said to her, he said, "You know what? I apologize that this happened to you. I don't know what to say." And he's like, I feel so bad. But at this point, she was like, "I understand." And she was so understanding about it. She didn't blame him. She's like, "You know what? It happens." And she said to him that she was just so grateful that he chose her out of the three girls, because before that, she always felt like she wasn't pretty enough. She always felt like she was not good enough. She always felt like, she was second fiddle to her sisters. And she just said to him, "Thank you for making me feel special." Like, the fact that that girl got so jealous made her feel good. And he was just like, "Wow, this is like a different type of woman. This woman's not asking for any money. This woman's not asking, for him to compensate anything." So he paid for her hospital bill, and then he whisked her off to Rio San Juan. And while they were in Rio San Juan, he bought a beautiful property there almost overnight, because his plan was to set this girl up. She was a single young girl. Her parents had died. She was living with her sisters in Puerto Plata, and she had nothing. So he said to her, "You know what? I'm going to buy this property. I'm going to buy this house. You're going to live here, and I'm going to make sure I take care of you." And that's what he did. And that's what he's been doing ever since. Now, he hasn't dedicated himself to her, and he hasn't promised her marriage, but he has come back and forth and been able to give her a lot of love and a lot of attention. He's putting her through school, and he's also making sure that she's going to remain in school. So she's becoming a criminal and immigration lawyer, and he really wants to see her succeed in life. And she is healed. Her arms like are totally fine. You can hardly see the scars. Obviously, you can see a few things, but he made sure that she was well taken care of and that she healed with the best doctors possible. So when he told me this story, I was like, oh my gosh, this happened in Sosua? And he's like, no, not in Sosua, but in Avila. And I just was like, oh my gosh, like this was like, holy smoly macaroni. And this happened many years ago. And it didn't make the papers. It didn't make the news. It was way before any of us vloggers were even here and before many of you even came to visit. But he said to me, always be careful and make sure you watch your back and use your head. So, guys, tell me what you think about this story. Like, what could he have done differently? I think the moral of the story is if you are telling a girl that you're not into her any longer, then make sure that you tell the front gate that she cannot enter any longer. And also, if you have to block her, then be prepared that she's going to be angry. Some women love to retaliate, others, they just leave it alone. Let me know what you think in the comments below. I'm interested to hear what you guys have to say. All right, you guys, thank you so much for listening. This is Story Time. I'm Cerise. Please take a moment to subscribe and hit that like button. And remember, I have a Story Time playlist that I'm going to put down below. Take a listen to some other stories that I have. Take care, everyone. Huge hugs, loads of love, big blesses.